Hi, I'm Greg Gorbach with ARC, and today I'm speaking with Laura Coates, Vice President of Process Automation with Siemens Digital Industries. Welcome, Laura.
Thanks a lot, Greg.
So your company continues to help their customers along their digital transformation journey. Can you talk a little bit about um, how you do that and specifically what kind of products and things that your customers are using in this endeavor?
Yeah, I mean, there's a multitude of different products, and it really depends on the particular application that the customer is going for. One of the most interesting ones that we've been addressing over the last couple of years, I mean, in light of the pandemic, is pharmaceuticals. And really, I mean, we did some very innovative work with BioNTech in the development of their COVID vaccine and the acceleration of bringing their product to market with digital twins up front of their process and their manufacturing in order to make sure that they could model everything so that they could build their production lines and really get things running as fast as possible to get that product out to the market. We've also seen, not just in that case, but across the pharmaceutical industry as they've been trying to ramp up, there's a huge transformation in their interest in kind of paperless manufacturing.
Hmm.
So there's been a lot of innovative projects to really try to drive that into the industry, even stateside on the U.S. So that's really a very exciting area of the market now. Another really cool area that we see, we have worked with one of the chemical companies that's here at the forum on bringing their engineering fully into the cloud. So obviously, you know, in the past, when you start up a plant, when you're doing your upfront engineering, your feed studies, it's been a team in one physical location, kind of working together. Obviously, in the current model, it's not possible. We've virtualized and created an online platform where they can collaborate across the world with their engineers, and they were able to ramp up their manufacturing using our CVAS platform much more quickly with engineering resources from around the world. So there's a lot of really kind of exciting examples of how we're helping kind of across the board customers digitalize.
Wow, that's good. That's important. The you mentioned digital twin. What kind of digital twin solutions do you offer, and how do you help your customers create their own?
That's a great question because I mean you'll find, and I'm sure you've seen in your work, that when you say digital twin, you mean about 500 different things depending on the type of application. And what I'll say is one of the first things Siemens does is, well, what do you want a digital twin of? It's not a one size fits all. We kind of started off, Siemens has a traditional foundation with a lot of the product digital twins in the manufacturing side, the discrete manufacturing side. So we have that foundation. If you want a product digital twin, that exists. We have a lot more now in offerings in the process side. So modelings for your process. We have operator training, so simulation, simit systems where you can simulate your operator training up front. We also have, and I think this was powerfully exhibited by Eastman Chemical, they've used our walk inside, our Comos walk inside project to simulate what their new greenfield chemical recycling facility would look like. So they were building, and before they kind of put a brick in the ground, they said, we need a digital twin of what this facility will look like. You know, how will it operate from a safety perspective, from a layout perspective? And instead of making costly mistakes in their construction,
Mhm.
we created a digital twin with walk inside. They could see how an operator would walk through the facility, how it would work, how the layout would work, and they were able to make adjustments on the fly that they would then pass to their construction company as they were going along with their manufacturing. So I think it prevented some powerful mistakes. I think they made the example yesterday. You know, we realized that they only had one egress from one of the
Mm.
areas that was safety critical. And if there was a fire in that area, they realized it was impossible to get someone out in time. So simulating that, doing the digital twin, you could see, okay, all we have to do to prevent the safety problem, make us a safer building, put an extra exit in, and simulating in the digital twin was allowing them to do that very easily.
That's a great example. Um, Another set of technologies that we're seeing come into the production space in a pretty big way are things like augmented reality and mixed reality and virtual reality. And are you seeing a role for those?
Absolutely. You know, one of the first things that we had to do is figure out, in the pandemic, people weren't traveling. We had FATs, factory acceptance tests, where people couldn't go to. So you saw, like, from the ground up, grassroots, a very practical application of needing to make sure that you could see what was happening kind of from a manufacturing space in alternate locations. Virtual reality, augmented reality is a great way to do that. We're seeing a lot more acceptance and a lot more interest in doing trainings and remote services. So we have various different offerings where you can kind of basically take a tablet, do your troubleshooting with a technician who might be sitting, down the road, or could be sitting across the world, and they can actually troubleshoot and walk an engineer on site at your facility through how exactly you can work through whatever problem that you're having in the field, which is generally a little more cost effective and also much more time sensitive, for them to be able to solve the problems. So that's a great application. We're also seeing it's a very powerful tool in terms of operator training. So you can see and you can have operators hit the ground running for your facility as soon as you go live in a production floor, because one of the things that is always a challenge is you spend months and years building something, then you have to wait, you have to get your operators going on the floor. If you have your digital twin, if you have your augmented reality, your simulation, they can operate and train in a simulation of what your facility would look like and be ready once you kind of do your ribbon cutting ceremony. So that's a powerful application as well.
Okay, thanks. So in the consumer world, we are all used to dealing with apps. I mean, there's an app for that, and we solve it. Do you have apps for your manufacturing customers?
Absolutely. We have a lot of different apps. I think a couple years ago, I shared one of them with our C-Trans Store IQ. We continue to build out our app platform to really be able to best serve our customers' needs. I think one of the things that we find is the need for remote access to data and remote access to information is expanding. And people don't want to have to go to some of the more difficult locations in the field and access very simple things like measurements and levels of a tank. So simple applications like that, we have an app for that. We have an app for doing a lot more predictive analytics and remote monitoring. We have Asset Performance Suite, which is the basis of a lot of our different apps. One of the things that we find with app development is, as soon as you start putting your data in a platform that's accessible in a way that you can parse it out, you can really start building your digital transformation and building out what you're using that information for. So you might start with something very basic like a remote monitoring of a level. Then you say, okay, well, if I know the level in a tank, that can tell me what I need in terms of my inventory management. And that can tell me and set some trigger points of when I need to reorder something. So if you start with some of the smaller apps, if we use our Asset Performance Suite, you can continue to build and add additional apps into that universe and enhance your capabilities of monitoring and measuring things digitally.
Okay. Last question for today. And that has to do with another shift in the industry that we see, and that is companies are shifting from capital expenditures to OpEx, and they like to get software increasingly as a subscription. How are you approaching that?
Yeah, I mean, we've made a very, very big transition over the course of the last fiscal year at Siemens, and really started offering our big software platforms, our enterprise software as a service. So that's one of the things we saw, the shift in the industry. We saw also, you mentioned before, the consumer behavior influencing company behavior. We saw that, and we have made the adjustment in our biggest portfolio elements. So that's a transition that's been taking place across the course of this year, starting with some of our big, powerful like NX and Team Center softwares. We're also bringing that into some of our process software. We have PCS Neo, our cloud-based DCS system. So we're looking at different models of offering that type of offering as a service. So I think we're slowly expanding into that space. We still have some of those old perpetual licenses, but I think we're seeing that the future is providing those services, being a more collaborative partner with our customers, and really kind of making that journey with them. The maintenance, the kind of making sure your digital twin, as I mentioned, that needs to stay up to date. So you can't do that if you just buy a license and expect it to last forever. So I think we're trying to make the journey with our customers into software as a service and in that space.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Laura. I really enjoyed speaking with you today. This is some really interesting stuff. So thanks a lot.
Thanks, Greg. And it's great to be back here sitting with you in person.
Excellent. I've been speaking with Laura Coates, Vice President of Process Automation for Siemens Digital Industries. Thanks for watching.